Hey everyone, and welcome to another. Oh wait, is the stream even going? Is this even a pop? I think it is. I think it is.
Are we even doing it? Who knows?
Every day is professionalism at your Junez. We are live, motherfuckers. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Mitch's Minute. We are currently like three. Four, like, okay, so we're starting the show back up, I think, is it like July 5th or 8th or something like that? It's supposed to be on Monday. We're supposed to start the show back up on a Monday, so I think it might be July 8th, but if I've said otherwise, it doesn't matter because I said it right now. July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, totally.
Because I don't know. I thought it was like the 5th, but apparently it's the 8th. The 8th is on Monday. But anyways, guys, hey, welcome back to another episode of Mitch's Minute. We're like month 3 of the hiatus, and Breath of the Wild is going great. we
done other things.
Yeah, we've done other videos and stuff like that. Oh, how fucking rude of me! So we have a guest today.
Hello.
I'm expecting no one is going to come and watch our episode today. Unfortunately, the guest episode that you came on for, no one's going to watch it because everyone's watching E3 right now.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Ren. You might see me as Flightless Ren when I chat on the streams. I'm generally Ren. And yeah, I just sort of chat. I do some art. I do also like post stuff on Twitters, but I've never actually like connected any of that stuff to the Discord. So, you know, I might maybe share some of that stuff in future, but who knows? But yeah, hello.
Yeah, well, what you'll do is send me that stuff, and I'll throw it up in the dashboard when everything is said and done today. But hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mitch's Minute. We have a special guest today, and today we'll be talking about a big range, big range of topics, because a lot happened this week. It doesn't feel like it, but so much. Like this was the week I got into Dauntless, and that feels like I've been playing that game forever. It's only been like a week. I feel like, so we're gonna start off though with everything by talking about, first and foremost, Pokemon Sword and Shield, because fuck. Oh, so I hope you're happy, inflation people, because you're getting what you want.
Oh no, do not bring that into Pokemon, please. Mitch.
That's right. I just I was talking to Gangmudo about it earlier, because we were just goofing around, and she was like, "Yeah, Mitchell, there's this, it's just I never understood inflation, and I just kept thinking about this, like, not even like an attractive guy, just a dude, and he's just like, hey everyone, oh, I know you think I'm so sexy, oh no." He's like inflating like a balloon or like a bouncy house. Oh no.
Mitch, why?
Because Dynamax is weird. Okay, so here's the thing. This is old news because by the time we get to this every week, this has become anything from like Wednesday behind, like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It doesn't matter because it's old news by the time we get to it on Mitch's Minute.
Sure.
But I am so hyped for this game. I love Pokemon. I fucking adore Pokemon. I think the Sword one looks kind of silly, but I also like him. I'm getting Shield.
I think they both look kind of silly. Yeah. And if I acquire a Switch, I think I'm getting the dog with the sword.
Well, I'll
getting the dog with the shield. Well, I do just enjoy a dog with a knife. Also really enjoy dog with shield face.
I like dog with shield face because if you're getting shot at, the dog with the shield face will block the bullets for you.
But counter argument, a dog with knife can cut the bullets down.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I've seen weird slicing the bullet science.
Wouldn't it just mean you have 2 bullet wounds instead of 1?
Well, it depends.
Like, that doesn't... I mean, I suppose if you seriously alter the trajectory when you slice it, but you're not stopping the velocity unless it's going fast enough to just break the thing you're hitting it with.
There is a brilliant video on YouTube where it's this guy who slices like an airsoft bullet in midair, and I guess it doesn't hit him because he doesn't seem to go ow. But like, I don't know. Like, the point is the game looks so good. If you have somehow not heard anything about Pokemon Sword and Shield, let me tell you, this game looks fucking amazing. I know a lot of people are nitpicking. Huh?
Yeah, no, joke's on you. Fucking somehow, don't know how, if you haven't fucking seen Sword and Shield, man.
I mean, it seems like just everything has been flooded with the Wooloos and a bit of Corviknight, but mostly the very round cheap friends.
Well, a lot of people like Wooloo because Wooloo is, one, has a fun name. Just the most fun name. And two, like, Wooloo is just like, I should have gotten a picture of Wooloo.
Doodled the fuck out of Wooloo at work during fucking my lunch break, and I was just like, why is it so cute?
I think it's just because it's like it has like the little like sheep braids.
Oh god, that certainly doesn't help. And then it's got the big eyes.
Yeah.
And its nose is kind of heart-shaped.
It's a heart-shaped nose. It's so cute.
It's funny that that's what you guys have been getting, because I've been getting pictures of the redhead just all over my Twitter feed.
A lot of her too.
Yeah, like a lot
of her.
The thirst is intense.
I've also just seen everybody dunking on the champion's fashion sense.
Oh, yeah, the one with the purple hair and his booty shorts legging combo.
To be fair, that is a thing that footballers do actually wear. I mean, I do mean football in the British sense, where it's soccer. Because I lived in England for most of my life, actually, and I know I don't have the accent. And yeah, they will legitimately wear like leggings under their shorts when they're playing.
God, I know hentai artists work so fast, Lude Mercy. Fucking legitimately,
it's kind of terrifying how fast.
We watched fucking the thing. We watched the trailer. It had been maybe an hour after it had come out. How much do you want to bet there's Rule 34? I googled it immediately. It was just flooded.
Okay, now to be fair, what I like to think happens is they just have like character bases, and then they just draw like the hairstyle,
like the your character here sort of fucking
like the
mentality.
background's all already done, and the hands are already in.
Like the first to porn fucking ratio is like someone wants to be number one so bad. And so, like that's how it turns out. Like, that's how they all set it up. And, I don't know. Like,
I'm very curious about how they can be so... I just, like, legitimately don't know how these, like, people just move so fucking fast.
And it's... The games look so good, though. Like, everything aesthetically looks so good. I loved my favorite part of the trailer was when they were just wandering through the world and the Tyranitar was just out there.
Yeah, it's nice. They're just like wandering around in their little environment. Get some friends on the road with you.
Because they took the idea from, not took the idea, but they like implemented the idea for Pokemon. Let's go Eevee and Pikachu. And they really ran with it. It's like, yeah, now you can see the Pokemon in the wild rather than just them appearing randomly. And they were like, okay, well, let's move from the grass squares, like those grass tiles, and just make giant patches of just, you can find the Pokemon here. And that's great. That is just so good.
Also, you can try and avoid all of the Zubat in every cave.
That's right. Like there's just something so amazing about how they've worked, like how they've turned the random enemy generator into like something that can be visually just so interesting. And I think that one of the things, because I already had to ask, not had to, but I already asked Amanda and Gang Widow and some other people what your ideal Pokemon game is. But down the line, real quick, starting with Ren, what is your ideal Pokemon game? Like, what do you think would make the best Pokemon game?
Honestly, I would want to see more exploration of the non-gym battle stuff, like the contests or those kinds of things. Because I'll do the battles just kind of because it gets the story going and stuff. But I've also really enjoyed some of the concepts they've put on the side stuff. So I'd like to see like that kind of stuff expanded. Like it would also be kind of fun like to run a game as you're the gym leader. Like kind of like flip the perspective on it. I think that might be kind of fun.
Oh, so like you start off by like up a gym, kind of fucking Animal Crossing style.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I think that could be lots of fun.
Do you feel like you're gonna have to Pokemon Origins it, where it's like, how many badges do you have? I have this many. It's like, okay, and they show that scene of Brock like taking out like from a drawer like a certain set of Pokemon to fight against.
I loved that.
Yes,
Can I just
think
say-
that makes a lot of sense for how it works.
I really appreciated that fucking scene and how that scene fucking worked, because it cleared up so much, honestly.
And it also means that the gym leaders have more than just the ones, like that tiny little group that they send out. So you get to have like this big horde of Pokemon friends, and then like you get to like, okay, you guys are gonna help me fight like the little guys who don't know what they're doing yet, and okay, you guys are gonna help me fight these annoying assholes who think because they have 5 badges they're like god of the world or something.
You guys get to help me because these guys went out of fucking order again and fuck it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like,
makes so much sense.
I love that idea, because I also like the idea that it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the implication that each of the gym leaders at some point have taken on the Elite Four challenge?
And while not one at least got pretty far in it, yeah.
Yeah, like each one is like a type like expert, and that's what makes them like, worthy of the gym leader title. It's not just, I have a level 16 Onyx and I own a building. Like, I happen to own a warehouse and I have a little boy that helps me and now I own a gym. Like,
I don't know, fucking warehouse. I have filled it with electrical fields and trash cans.
Misty's like,
I'm a retired vet with too much time on my hands.
Misty's just like, my family owns a pool. And the fish
This isn't like a Pokemon gym. This is just a regular gym. But people keep bringing their fucking Pokemon in here.
How shitty would that be if you owned like an LA Fitness and the Pokemon trainers just kept popping in and they're just like, oh boy!
My in shape.
And twist on it, you're not a fighting type gym by the time you acquiesce and become a gym leader. You're like an electric type gym or something, just to screw over all the flying types these people brought with them.
Oh man. It's like the concept is just there. Like I don't know. I do think you're right. I think that could be really fun. Amanda, what was yours again? I'm kind of drawing a blank on it a little.
Probably because mine was literally all of them at once.
Just travel every single region?
Well, the idea that fucking, if you want to do like the fucking maxing out your Pokemon and battling them and fucking doing competitions like that, you can do that. But I also like the idea of a Pokemon stadium when you just got random fucking Pokemon and they were all level 50s and had moves that you didn't get to choose, but it was very much so like you work with what you got. Idea of like bringing back like the stadium games, because those were the best. And fucking Snap was also really great, so I'd also like to implement that as well. Fucking I also wanted the ability to not have to be the champion and get to be like a breeder. The beauty competitions.
Yeah, getting to go and decide
Like
stuff.
NPC options like in the game.
One of my favorite things to do, because the last big Pokemon game I played was X and Y, and it's really unfortunate. The reason I never played Sun and Moon is because I wanted to play it on the show, and then I never got the equipment for it, so it just kind of like eased out before Let's Go Eevee. But before that, I was a hardcore Pokemon breeder. I fucking loved making custom Pokemon. And what I mean by that is I had this one Luxray. Pokemon story time with Mitch. Fuck. Okay, so there was so I had this one Luxray, and I worked so hard because I wanted it to know Double Kick and Ice Fang. And you couldn't traditionally teach those moves to a Luxray. What happened was you had to have its dad be a Glaceon so that it could pick up Ice Fang. And then you had to have like some other, I can't remember what the other one was. I think it was a Jolteon so it could pick up Double Kick. And I wasn't happy until I got both of those moves onto Luxray. And I nicknamed him and everything. I named him Hari. And I will never forget the day I fought my friend who was like a big dick dragon trainer. And like he's like, oh yeah, I got this fucking sick ass fucking Noivern, and I just Ice Fanged him so fucking hard.
He was like, how does this Pokemon even know this?
Well, that's the thing. So, like, I'm not, like, into, like, Pokemon meta and stuff like that. That's not really my scene, but I do like looking at, like, what's happening in it. Like, what's the big thing? What are the big Pokemon moves? Like, what's the big, like, the goofy things? And when, just one of the things that I always thought was really interesting about Pokemon was that there are some, like, there's some weird, really interesting hidden tech. And the thing I love the most about X and Y specifically was the fact that, like, before you could, like, so the Pokemon has, like, IVs and EVs. IVs are, I'm gonna fuck it up. I haven't done this in a hot second. I can't remember if it's IVs or EVs, but I'm pretty sure it's EVs. EVs can only be increased through battle, and depending on what Pokemon you fight determines, like, what EVs that Pokemon gets through leveling, which is weird. But it's cool because it's like a fun little adaptation, kind of like, well, you fought this Pokemon and you adapted like this far. But
it's a bit weird, but it makes sense. Like if you fought a Pokemon that's like really fast and
I don't know what it says about our audience, but why did the fucking, like, why did the views go up when we started A, talking shit about gym leaders, and B, when we started talking about Pokemon hentai?
Because everyone loves that shit. Also, it's probably because Bethesda's ending, like, right now, I think. But the point is that, so, like, the thing that I liked about X and Y, and I hope they bring it back into, I really hope they find a way to bring it into Pokemon Sword and Shield, is the fact that, like, you didn't have to fight Pokemon to increase those EVs anymore, because now you could do the little mini games where you would increase their stats that way, and it was just easier to handle that, and, like, it was this really fun little optional thing you could do to increase your Pokemon's attacks, like attack stats, special defense stats, and if you looked up online, you can determine their natures and yada yada yada. But that is something I really, really enjoy in Pokemon. It's just creating fun custom Pokemon that have, like, moves that can only be learned by breeding and just dumb shit like that. I'm so sorry, Amanda. I interrupted you hardcore.
No, dude, you're okay. Fucking... But no, in the ideal Pokemon game, you would get to fucking... fuck you wanted. In the ideal Pokemon game, it's a Barbie fucking life. You can be what you want to be. But also,
I mean,
I'd really...
kind of like doing it MMO style, where those different classes that you simultaneously learn or train into.
Definitely MMO style. I don't know how that'd work. Probably not great, but But also, I'd be super fucking down for fucking a Pokemon game in which up the champion, and you kind of end up the bad guy, and you start your own fucking like Pokemon evil organization.
You want to be Giovanni. You want to start your own.
Dude, I want to be Guzma. I don't know.
Yes.
I want to be that dumb boy.
Man, I wish we could still keep the gimmick of we were the Team Skull of Let's Play. But
just struggling.
So I'm just gonna go out there and say mine now because I'm an interrupting bitch like that.
Hey, go for it.
But what I want, honestly, is there's one thing I always felt Digimon did really interestingly, and that was instead of having it so that you directly controlled your Pokemon in combat, RPG style, they would do it so that their AI would fight other monsters, and you as a trainer could give them items, could like suggest moves and stuff like that, but the idea was that the AI would do the combat. And while that's not traditional RPG strategy and stuff like that, I do think that there's room in there to make it work, because when I look at and some people like I also kind of agree with this, but like it's Final Fantasy, right? So Final Fantasy 1 through like 6 did the well, not 6, 1 through like 5, I want to say. They did the thing where it's like you take the turns and like it would just kind of function that way. Like
I think they had that even up to 7.
So like with 6, 7, 8, 9, with those ones they switched to an ATB system, so it's active time based. So the idea was that while you are navigating the menus, your opponent is also can then make moves, or like the timer still goes. So that way you're mitigating how much time is spent between each turn. Then with 10 they went back to it. But the point is that as time goes on, though, they change the combat strategy and the formula, because the reason why Final Fantasy 1 is set up like that is because of the limitations of the game at the time. So while it is like something that is interesting and something that is preferred, like I still like combat that way where you take the turns. Some people, want some change, and I think that could be a really interesting way to do that, is like instead of having it where you directly give your Pokemon commands, you then perhaps give it suggestions. You do the training like Monster Rancher style, where like it's like, or like in the Pokemon show where Ash is like not directly, he doesn't put on a mind control device and directly controls Pikachu,
You're giving advice to how to do it, but the Pokemon's like, no, that's a stupid idea. I'm going to do my own thing.
Right, and maybe you can only unlock certain moves through, like, not just leveling up, but also doing bonding stuff. And I think what could be fun...
Kind of like fucking Ash and his Charizard, how fucking he could never get him to listen to him.
Right, and
like, the more respect you earn from your Pokemon, or the more they like you, the more likely they'll actually follow through on your ideas, maybe.
Right, and then maybe you could do something where, like, because now you're kind of using the AI to kind of to do the game. Now maybe you could do fun stuff where it's like, oh well, this Pokemon using Seismic Toss. Oh, and now also because you're doing it this way, you don't have a limit to 4 RPG moves. You can now like that Pokemon knows a full moveset. And the problem is that obviously there's over 700 fucking Pokemon, perhaps 800 here in the fall. And what I think would be interesting is maybe set the games that only has like 50. Like 50. That way it's a nice number where you can program enough of the AIs to do what they need to do. In the same sense that like Pokken only had like a certain amount of Pokemon, and like some of them were like a lot of people want the fighting game, like the fighting type Pokemon, but they didn't even include some of those. But the point is that like it's something that could be there, and maybe you can make it so like it's like, oh, it's Pokemon Rangers. They already did that. Pokemon.
You got this.
I don't know. Pokemon Explorers, some shit like that. And the idea is that like you have that Pokemon, and maybe like maybe you can include some sort of aspects where it's like, oh well, I'm trying to explore this region, or I'm trying to explore this, and this. I'm like, oh well, this Pokemon is a flying type, and I can send him to scout for me for a little bit, or this is like and maybe make it so like you only have like 3 Pokeballs or some shit like that, and then like but you can put like a certain bird Pokemon on your shoulder, or you can ride another Pokemon, because they experimented with that a little bit here and there from what I recall in Sun and Moon. I kept seeing clips for it, and they even did that in X and Y for a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely really appreciated the integration of like the ride Pokemon and sort of like the phasing out of HMs to get everywhere, because that with those it's like I remember like outside of like a couple ones which were genuinely could be useful late game, I remember I always had like this one Pokemon that was just kind of stuck with Cut, Brick Break, and like all those like really low damage ones that I couldn't use later, but also couldn't make them forget unless I went out of my way to find this one dude, and then I'd need to find a new Pokemon to put it on anyways.
And
like, and then like apparently that was super common, in which people just had like they just kept around to just dump moves onto.
Yep.
Great.
Like your flying type would get Fly, and Fly was still relatively later. And I think Surf was okay as well, but a lot of them were just.
Yeah, and like I think that's the thing. When I think of the ideal Pokemon game, I think of like a fun exploration game where your Pokemon are like the combat system is revamped for that region, and then like you also have like I don't know in an ideal world I would want like little side quests. The idea is like you have it's like, oh well, you find this one, let's just use Pikachu. You find a Pikachu like in the rain or something like that, and then like you go with it, and maybe there's a little side quests you can do for bonding missions, like how they do like the little skits in Fire Emblem, and you do these little skits, or you do these little side quests and stuff like that. Not like collect shit. I hate collecting shit. Just like, let's say it's like, oh, you follow the Pikachu out, and it shows you a location like back in one of the first towns, and it's like, oh, it's its home or some shit like that. You can do a lot of fun stuff, because they did something very similar to a game I never played, but I've heard nothing but praise about, which is Yokai Watch.
Oh.
And it's a game I've always wanted to play. It sounds like a lot of fun, because you have, apparently what it is like you have those side quests, or like you have that gimmick to either level up or gather the yokai or whatever. But I think that could add a lot of personality and a lot of fun to the Pokemon, and maybe all the Pokemon, maybe not all of them, but maybe some of the Pokemon, like make it so the Pikachu's wearing a bandana, and that's how you know he's from that game, or like a little handkerchief or something like that.
That would be really cute.
Yeah, especially if you're working with a smaller cast of them, you probably actually put a bit more attention giving unique details to at least a couple of the Pokemon that show up.
Maybe you can have a storyline where it's like there's like a hidden forest, and there's a bunch of like dinosaur Pokemon, and like the king of the apex predator is Tyrantrum. And he has like a big X scar on him, and like there's like poachers trying to get him or some shit. Like they're essentially what I'm asking for is Pokemon stories. I want the ideas that like you go about and you do this. I should make a D&D campaign that's just this, because apparently
I mean that sounds like a lot of fun. Just like make sure you remember Squirtle in sunglasses. He must show up.
Well, that's the thing. Like maybe, and not all the Pokemon have to have that personality, but maybe like you see a Pokemon like classic game design where you fucking everyone in town is standard looking person. Then you see the person in like a ridiculously sexy outfit and purple hair, and it's like, oh, you're a main character. Like maybe you do something similar with the Pokemon, where it's like, oh, you have the Pikachu with the handkerchief, or like you see the Charizard with the fucking, like, maybe he has like some sort of weird, not weird, but maybe he's like shiny or something like that, or like maybe he's like, I don't know, or you. I feel like there's just a lot of things you can do, or maybe it's like a Bulbasaur that's like weirdly miscolored, not even shiny, just like weirdly miscolored. And it's like what's causing the miscolor? Or maybe its
plant looks a little bit different than our standard Bulbasaur plant, like those hybrid that people do for a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, and then like what you could do is you could even have it so like at the very end of the game, like maybe like it's like, oh well, I want to catch this legendary Pokemon, but then like have something where it's like, is it right to catch this legendary Pokemon? And then like, well, maybe not, and then have a big fake out at the very end of it's like in the post game or whatever, it's like, well, he wants to travel with you, and it's like you did so much good for Pokemon kind that like he's like, I find you worthy, human, and then he like comes along and aids you and stuff like that.
That would be cute.
Yeah, like the dog on screen.
Mew decides to like just like he's gonna be your little buddy, and you don't even have to put him in a Pokeball. He just sort of like floats around with you.
like I think that like that could be like something that's really fun, and I think that like it would require. Granted, it would require a shit ton of writing skills. Like you'd have to have some really good writers on the team.
You would definitely need a slightly more advanced team of writers than what I feel Pokemon normally has in their narrative room.
Well, I feel okay. So let me put it this way, and then another thing would just be like, okay, so like you could do something in which like, because that's another thing. Maybe the Tyrantrum like gets cornered or something in a cave, and like the cave starts to collapse, and the Tyrantrum like pushes like a little Tyrant like fucking forward, and then the cave collapses behind him. And that's kind of a dark bit, but like I think that storytelling wise, you could do a lot of interesting things with Pokemon. Like that sounds like something out of the manga, and maybe that's what I'm craving and wanting. Is just like Pokemon as a concept is interesting. It's in the same sense that like I've mentioned it 1,000 times before, where Digimon as a concept is real interesting, and especially in the digital age where everything in the future became just ripe for Digimon to take the crown. But they just keep they just keep squandering the IP.
Yeah, it's weird how Digimon just kind of like always, at least in the West, it's always been kind of second fiddle to Pokemon.
I like Insane Oddball's idea, which is they want to see Cubone's face. And maybe you could...
I feel like that might be a little bit terrifying.
Well, I think what could be fun is if you like have it so that like Cubone fully trusts you, and it takes off the mask, but it's like it's done in such a way that like it's off camera.
See like the fucking trainer's face like reacting to it.
Yeah, and at first it's shocked, and then it's smiling, and it's a cute little moment, and then like Cubone then like evolves after that. That's another thing! You could have your Pokemon evolve... What did I say?
Outside of combat means, yeah.
You could have your Pokemon evolve through... Like, in the same sense to how Persona works, you could have Pokemon evolve through bonding. Like, maybe it's like, oh man, Charmeleon's really great, but he's not evolving to Charizard. It's like, well, are you specifically fighting, or are you doing the bonding stuff? And it's like, well, I'm not doing the bonding stuff.
Are you befriending your Pokemon? They kind of tried to start implementing
type no.
Pokemon like Sylveon and stuff like that.
It's type no.
Type no.
From Sun and Moon. Yeah. From Sun and Moon, he's one of the fucking rare Pokemon that you can get, but he's very similar to Mewtwo in that he's a man-made Pokemon, and in his first form, like a metal plate against its face. After you finally get it to evolve, which I think he needs to like have a high friendship with you, it'll finally take off its mask.
Yeah, there's a couple other Pokemon that also have a high friendship thing, or Sylveon, the fairy type evil one, where you need to do like the in-game befriend your Pokemon thing, and then it can only evolve if you have that high enough, plus the fairy type move at level up. So they have started trying to implement that stuff. I don't know, like it still definitely relies on you to out of combat and non-stone.
Just another skull.
Well, and that's the whole point is just like, I think that could be like a really cool game. I feel like Pokemon could have that. I just feel like I say all this, and it reminds me a lot of a conversation I had a long time ago about what would the dramatical murder fighting game be like, where it's a lot of hypotheticals. It's a lot of hypotheticals. But it's at the end of the day, that's all they can be, is because at the end of the day, the people at Pokemon don't want to do something like this because
they've got their formula.
Well,
they don't want to screw it up.
Well, they do try, and that's the thing. Like they did. I remember Gang Budo, one of her favorite games, is the Mystery Dungeon series, and that game is very different from what traditional Pokemon is, and I'm sure the people in the Pokemon office had a very similar conversation to what we are all having right now, where it's like, okay, what's a Pokemon game you want that you think can work? And I think that is kind of the thing here. That being said, I'm very much like, hey, let's just do a Pokemon campaign. I mean, what's the worst that could fucking happen? We have all the stat information we need.
True.
Oh, dude, I played a Pokemon campaign. It can get very frustrating, fucking math-wise.
Yeah, I can see that because essentially,
because like the entire fucking time, you know how the game pretty much does it for you. Like, oh, you made this kind of attack. We'll just do the damage. You have to calculate your own damage.
Right. Well, I mean, that's we would have to figure out another time, but like that. The point is my ideal Pokemon game would be Pokemon Explorers, and it would be a game in which like you would just where it's all about those interactions, and it kind of in the similar vein to Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon Coliseum, where it has like a very limited roster of Pokemon to pick from, to catch and stuff. I think that could work in its favor. And that being said, though, we've talked about Pokemon for quite some time. Is there anything we want to add to Sword and Shield before we switch topics?
Yeah, I hope there's Regent variants again.
Same.
Yes, that would be cool. And also Corviknight, I've heard like is based on that silhouette of a Pokemon that you see when you used to use the old Fly HM stuff. Like that's sort of like they compared it, and it's the same like black silhouette with the bright red eyes, and he is your taxi in this game that takes you around to all the towns you've been to before, much like you would have done via Fly.
Oh damn!
I love it.
It's cute.
I'm so into it. I hope that because of where it takes place, I want to see like a Regent variant of Lapras without the shell, so it's just Nessie.
Yes,
that's all I want. I know that's dumb, but I also want to see like a Corgi Snubble or some shit.
Corgi Snubble. Just a Corgi. Corgi Eevee.
No, Arcanine, but a Corgi.
Oh.
Arcanine, but a Corgi.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. Oh, that would be adorable.
All right, man.
That would be adorable. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you could do for Regent variants.
Wooloo is indeed friend-shaped.
All right, guys, let's move on.
Wooloo is the best friend-shaped.
Let's move on to the next one. All right, so as it goes on, and I'm sure all of you in the chat, you brave souls who are ignoring E3 right now to watch.
Dude, you did not see them. If you scroll fucking up a little bit, there's a fucking insane oddball being like, usurp Bethesda's throne.
Crucify Todd Howard.
I wish we had some level of pool like that. That's just like, yeah, like we just roadhog hook like Todd Howard off the screen, and it's just, hi guys, and it's like, who the fuck is that? And it's like me, and it's just, and then we pull up like some like cheap steel chairs and a table, and people start leaving. No, so E3, this is happening all throughout this week, and what we're gonna do is real quick is we're just gonna say just how we're gonna cover it, because I do intend to talk a little bit about what's going on at E3 this year next week. So next week I'm hoping to get Sora on, and a couple other people, and we're gonna talk about E3. What's going on right now, obviously, and the only thing so far at E3 that I've been really excited for is, hey, did you guys see Pokemon? Did you guys happen to catch Pokemon? Because I'm really excited for Pokemon.
That's not even like, that's the last day of E3. Nintendo isn't even doing it until the last day.
Yeah, I know. It sucks, but like essentially all it really boils down to is I just want to say, hey, E3's going on right now. Everyone's freaking out because Keanu Reeves was on screen for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and then he came out onto the stage and talked to the audience.
And
No, and someone said he was breathtaking, and he got flustered, and it was amazing.
like
It was nice.
I really like this resurgence of Keanu Reeves as a media personality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
so I seen it briefly in chat, but I don't know exactly what's going on. I know one of you mentioned something about Bethesda and a mobile game. Buys me.
I don't know what's going on either, but that does sound familiar.
I'm gonna be seeing the Bethesda stream later. What I'm actually doing for a lot of it is there's some people they've made a drinking game for the E3 conferences, and while two people are not participating, one of them for the Xbox stream they had to take a shot of Mountain Dew every time the drinking list thing went off, and he drank over like I think nearly 2 liters of Mountain Dew within like 1 and a bit hours, which is a lot.
That.
And then he decided he's going to do the same with cheese wheels for the Bethesda, and he's going to keep on doing a bunch of other funky things for the drinking game for the other conferences.
God. You can't do it with actual alcohol, you'll die.
No, he would. He would have definitely died. I remember seeing like this there was like this one trailer. I think it was for the new like Xbox Cloud thing where like he just didn't stop drinking Mountain Dew. He drank like I think nearly at least a good half a liter during like this one segment alone. It was bizarre.
Jesus
That sounds
Christ.
horrible.
Yeah, kinda.
That sounds like a fucking mess. Is there anything going on at E3 right now, like that anyone is interested in? Like, not I don't. That came off really shitty, but like it was just like, okay, is there any like? Because all I can think about is I'm not gonna lie, Pokemon kind of took it up for me, man. I'm more excited about Nintendo than anything else this year because Sony didn't pop, and Sony, like, I'm excited for Square Enix. I'm excited because one, Marvel's Avengers, but besides that, I mean, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say that E3 is starting to dwindle a little.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
think
I've heard.
it might be if the organizers can't figure out how to get things back on track. Like, it's not at the point where it's impossible for it to, like, grow to where it has been, but it would not surprise me if it just sort of, like, died over the years.
Yeah, I've heard more people are, like, wanting to go to PAX instead.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, PAX is the new big thing. I was gonna say that, like, the thing that I think is the most interesting is Tokyo Game Show. But that's because Tokyo Game Show has all the sweet weeb companies that I like. So
all that good weeb material.
Damn right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Stoic in the chat. Cyberpunk does look cool. Not just because of Keanu Reeves, but I will admit he is a selling point to it to me.
He's definitely a benefit.
Cyberpunk looks cool. I'm very worried.
Yeah, there are some weird places they can go with their concept, and they are not. I've seen them executed very poorly before.
I get very concerned, just in general when it comes to like games that take very long periods of time. Only because I've been burned so often by games that take multiple years. Like,
it's not great.
Or games that feel like they've been in development hell for a hot second.
Yeah, because they took that long making sure that they got everything right, or did they take that long because somebody was like micromanaging things that didn't need to be micromanaged, and did they have to like switch platform midway and stuff like that? So yeah, there can be a benefit to having time, but then there's why are you extending it this long?
Yeah. That being said, I do feel like we will talk more about E3 next week, and we'll have our video game expert Sora with us next time, and hopefully. But that being said, that kind of covers all the main topics for this week. But we have plenty of other topics to talk about because I have spent the entire week playing Dauntless, and I need to talk about it with someone.
Oh my god.
All right. So Dauntless, huh?
I played Dauntless with you.
So, okay, so here's the thing. If you guys don't know what Dauntless is, it is a free-to-play game that you can download on your PC, Xbox One, and PS4. It has cross-play. You can play with anyone. The game kind of is laggy here and there. It is only at, like, 0.8, I think. It's not even at 1.0. But
it's only kind of laggy when you have multiple different like platforms on. So if like someone's like on their PS4 and then someone's on their fucking, kind of gets a little slow.
yeah,
Especially if it's doing like 4-man groups and everybody's on a different system.
well, like, and that's another thing. It's just like the ironically, like, even though that is an issue, that's the thing I appreciate about it the most, because like when we play with Sora, like me and you play it on the PS4, Sora plays it on the PC, and so does Nextien, and Tabby also plays it like between both her PC and the PS4.
So you don't need to coordinate between friends, making sure everybody has the right system to play it on. Like
yeah,
that.
it's real nice. But for those at home who might not know exactly what we're talking about, Dauntless is a Monster Hunter clone, where it is kind of boiled down to the very basics. So instead of hunting or trying to find the location of the monster at the very get-go through like a pre-established stage that you might know like the back of your hand, Dauntless takes place on giant floating islands, and the idea is that these islands are very plain, like kind of like compared to Monster Hunter World specifically. The islands are kind of plain, where it's like you have some trees, you have some like cliffs and stuff, but for the most part, it's like, you know, it's just a jaggedy flying island. And the monsters have like, just like you'd expect, they have like their own move set. They have their own like, it's like a little mini boss fight or just a boss fight. And it is fun. Like the idea is like if your favorite part of Monster Hunter is stacking that damage and just having a good time with your friends, then you'll enjoy this game. I do have some critiques about it, or criticisms about it, but essentially what it boils down to is everyone I talked to who was a Monster Hunter fan going into this game feels that the weight is off. So like when you've hit something in Monster Hunter, it has a specific like feel when you punch it or when you hit it with a giant fucking like with an axe or a hammer or something like that. You feel like there is weight to the impact, where in this game it's not as clear. Even with your heavier weapons, it doesn't feel as clear. I will say the times where I'm using the hammer and it feels the most clear though is when you push square and then you power up the attack with the hammer by using one of your ammunitions, and like you push that triangle, and then all of a sudden you stagger the monster, and it's so solid. It's such a good feeling. But I would say that Dauntless is Monster Hunter light. It is, all the hunts take about 10 or less minutes, depending on how well you can hunt the monsters down. I would also argue that this has probably been the most painless game to get my friends into. Because I will tell you this much right now, I have tried in the past to get my friends to spend $60 to get into Monster Hunter, and I've always felt bad because like you have people like Nate and you have people like Tabby who Monster Hunter just isn't their thing, and then
spending $60 on something that's just not your thing, yeah.
Right, but then they play Dauntless, and Dauntless is, because it's light, like in terms of like how much I wouldn't say how much work goes into it, but because it's light and it's a little more easy to kind of get someone into it, I find it to be more satisfying at that end. Monster Hunter, I played Try back in the day when I was like 15. And that game, to me, Monster Hunter has always been like a single player game. And the fact that like even you had like online stuff was weird to me back in like on the Wii. like playing with other people for the first time online was fucking weird. And then like Monster Hunter World, you're kind of expected to hunt with your friends, but it still feels weird to me every now and then because if I'm not playing with my friends, I don't care.
That makes sense.
So like,
Yeah,
most of the time,
that can be a downfall of like multiplayer games where if you don't personally know the people that you're playing with,
it's just
the investment.
Well, that's the thing. So like, I can play Dauntless online with like other people, and like it in the same sense that I could play Overwatch online with like different people. With Monster Hunter, for some reason, it feels weird, and I just don't know why, but I think it's just because I interpreted it as such a single player experience for so long that like now when I see like other people like being like, hey, I'll help you out, bud, and then they take all my continues, and I'm like, fuck you, why did you do that? like you didn't even help.
Don't help me.
Like, I don't know, it's definitely weird. If you guys haven't tried out Dauntless, it is free to play. I cannot emphasize that enough. It is a free to play game. I am currently playing that game hardcore. I'm about to change my PSN name here in a hot second too, but not related to Dauntless. It's more like it's been like 15 years, and I should probably change it.
I mean, possibly because also it's a reference to something very few and far have actually read.
That's also
What
true.
is it in reference to?
Death Note. Not 15 years. It's probably 10, but not Death Note. It's actually one of the side books.
The light novels?
Yeah, yes, it is a reference to Beyond Birthday, which is fucking old. So I'm going to go ahead.
I think I own that. I don't know if I read it, but I own that, I think.
But if you guys are looking into playing this game because our fandom is so small, like, I don't know, maybe I'll see you in there because no one else plays this game apparently. But Dauntless, check it out, real good. And if you do check it out, I would absolutely adore it if you send us an email about it at savepointcity@gmail.com. That's savepointcity@gmail.com. I'm gonna start putting that in the down below part because I really do. Because I would love to hear about your experiences and maybe what you have to say, and like I want to start reading fan mail because I think that could be fun. Fan mail from the same 5 readers every week.
The day or the date for when like this was released.
Oh, jeez.
And like the release date of it, because I remember seeing it ever ago, but I cannot remember when.
Are you asking for the release date of Dauntless?
Asking for the release date of fucking Beyond Birthday.
Okay. So that came out.
06.
Yeah, in the date of death, January 21st, 2004. 2007 in the anime. Wait.
But it was released in Japan. 06.
Oh, yeah, another note. That is, I need to change my name. I need to change my name. But if you guys check it out, do send us emails. I would absolutely love to read some of them online or on the air. And before we go any further, though, before we end off today's episode of Mitch's Minute, I do want to talk about one last thing, and that's an anime experience that me and Amanda had earlier today.
Fucking Christ.
That was absolutely bizarre by all descriptions.
So here's the gimmick. Here's the deal. And we've only watched one episode of the show. As it stands, Nate had recommended it to us, and not recommended. He recommended is a strong word. He wanted us to see the chaos. That was Sarazan Mai.
And yes, oddball, it is the butt kappa.
So
yeah.
So this anime is very, 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 very strange, and I cannot emphasize that enough. It is not a recommendation on my end. It is just something that I thought was very strange. So essentially, how the anime works is, it is a very interesting art style. It's stylistically speaking,
It's such a beautiful art style. It makes me so sad.
yeah, stylistically, it's very, very interesting. I think it can be interesting. I had a very weird disconnect with it earlier, because when the characters were middle schoolers, I was like, I am 27.
Yup.
I'm like, oh, okay.
A reasonable reaction.
I had, it was this weird disconnect because, like, I can't emphasize this enough, where it's like, I just feel like sometimes when I'm watching anime, when a character says they're like 13, 14, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
This isn't for me.
Well, it's not that that's a thing. Like, it sounds interesting. It sounds like it's an interesting premise. But there's just this part of me that feels, as I get older, whether it's weird. Like, it feels like there's just some things that are like, what this feels like something I could have gotten into when I was 13. When I was 14, when I was a teenager, even I would argue that I probably could have gotten into the show when I was 20. But, like, now, in a weird way, because I'm 27, I feel like my media sources and my characters I crave, and I've talked about this 1,000 times over the course of video games and stories and characters, because I talk about this with Overwatch. Tracer is 26 years old. I think. Yeah,
She does not look like a 26-year-old.
No, she is 26 years old, but like and so are all the characters in Overwatch are older, and it's something that I always really, really appreciated about those characters. As I get older, it's just a little harder for me to get into some shows, because when they emphasize the age of the characters and the subject material especially, it gets very weird. And this particular show was very, 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 very weird.
Yep.
Because apparently what it is this kid and the kid on the... Oh, there was a better picture to use. The kid on the left, or the kid on the right, I should say, the brown-haired kid and the blue-haired kid. Blue-haired kid is trying to break into a car. Then he finds out that that someone took a picture of him, and then he tries to track that person down, and it doesn't work out so hot. He runs into the other kid, a misunderstanding happens, and they break a sacred kappa tree, or statue. And a golden statue. And after that, they start eating cucumbers and making weird poses, and they keep hearing a very annoying bell. And the idea is that there's a kappa who's like, hey, it's a good thing you can see me now. And then he's like, are you a frog? And he's like, don't call me a frog or else I'll eat your butt thing. And he does. And it's weird. And it's I was very confused.
Then he gives birth to the kids again.
Yeah,
but
through his butt. through his butt. And then and then he's like, well, yeah, I ate your desire thing in your butt, which sounds really bad. This sounds real bad.
Hey, 12-year-old.
Like, and then their friend comes along, and he eats the thing in his butt, and then they're like, well, if you want to turn back into a normal person, you have to beat Amazon. And so you gotta beat Kappa Amazon. And then there's a big monster of a box head. And they sing a song, and they form a spinning star, and they attack that guy's butt, and take his thing, and then they discover secrets about themselves, and that's how the first episode ends.
They discover secrets about each other, and in which the one kid, fucking with the box, is just a crossdresser, and...
So
okay.
Yeah, this sounds like a very bizarre show to try and watch. And Stoic, please no. In the chat.
Okay, so here is why. Okay, so all this is happening, and I even said it. I said, hey, if this was like, if the kids were older, like let's say 17, 18, 19, the age of Persona Protags, I'd be like, you know what? less cringy, less
Still weird. Still very, very weird.
Still weird. Now here's kind of where it stands. The concept is very interesting to me. I do think that on a conceptual level, they took the very weird aspects of the Kappa story. I'm assuming, because I don't fucking know jack shit about Kappa.
I know, it's actually like part of Kappa lore that they eat. They eat desires out of butts.
Okay, but that's the thing. So they eat the desires out of the butts. And that's the thing. They took an aspect that's really weird about the lore and they turned it into something fun. It's like if you took the story about how Thor cross-dressed to get married to someone and used that in the MCU. Like, that would be a fun, like, little call, you know? And
yeah,
the show is so bizarre and weird, and it's supposed to be funny. That's the biggest thing. You're supposed to sit there and you're like, oh, now they're singing. Like it's supposed to be just funny.
But it's also very, very uncomfortable.
It's because it's so, like, I would have thought this thing was fucking hilarious if these were like 20-year-old dudes, like, who were like office workers or some shit. And they had their pleasures eaten out of their butt, and this would be a completely different story if I was talking about characters who were like in their like who were 18, 19, 20, and this was happening to them. I'd be like, wow, what a fucking creative, weird, shitty anime.
But they're
like,
not.
fuck yeah, eat their booty like
weird.
groceries. Go for it.
The fact that like
happening.
there is a cross-dressing 13-year-old idol person is very uncomfortable to me. And but here's the thing. It's uncomfortable to me because of just the age thing, but story-wise, because Nate was explaining this to me, and story-wise, this sounds really interesting. This sounds like something where it's like, creatively speaking, this could be a very, like, the idea that it's like, you get the desires, no matter how you get the desires. But then, like, you discover these aspects about these people, and it's kind of like this reach out for the truth Persona 4 aspect, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool thing to do. Have it so that you have to confront these aspects of yourself, and then go on. It's a formula that works, and it's proven to work because Persona 4 was one of the biggest fucking Atlas games until P5 came out. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying, yes, Insane Oddball, if they were all grandpas, I'd still be okay.
It wouldn't be as creepy. It would be weird, but not as creepy.
It would be Gintama levels of weird.
They were fucking... What Lewd Mercy said, if they were of age, I'd be okay with the ass eating. If they were fucking 18 and older, I'd be like, alright.
Like, Lewd Mercy, but was it funny? Here's the edit. I think it's very unfortunate because I think on a weird like level it can be very funny, but the ages of these characters just threw me so off that I couldn't enjoy it. I sat there and was thinking, well, fuck. This is...
And the thing is you kind of have to sit there and think, this was made by adults. What were they thinking when they made this?
Well, and that's the thing. From my understanding, there isn't another piece of media. I don't know if this is true or not, but there isn't a visual novel or a manga or anything this is based off of. This is an original animation. This is like a story idea specifically for anime. So someone had to sit there in the fucking writer's room and say, oh yeah, the Kappa then, it's real funny. The Kappa then puts his fucking lips in the 14-year-old butthole and fucking eats the fucking desires. And someone had to say that and think, oh, this will be okay.
Yeah, like somebody had to pitch that, and then a room full of other people, again, all adults, had to go, yeah, I see no problem with this.
Yeah, this should be fine. Like, it's like, no! No one in that room was like, wait, maybe, just maybe, like no one sat there and was like, hey, do they have to be middle schoolers?
Yeah, do they need to be? Is that a necessity of the plot? Because from what you guys have described so far, it's really not.
Well,
like, that's the kicker, is that fucking, it's also supposed to be, because of what the genre is coming of age.
Well,
okay, so it's just there's so everything about that's the thing. Everything about this show is so fucking bizarre, and I think it would have hit it out of the fucking park if it just wasn't middle schoolers. If it and it's shitty and it's weird to say it like that, but it's just it's part of it is because I am older, and it's because I'm looking at it from the perspective of being my age and being okay, well, 10 years ago we had some anime shenanigans happen, but it was never explicitly this thing is giving birth to you in Kappa form, or this thing attacked as it did a spin attack, ripped off all your clothes, and then ate you out of your butthole. It was never been that level of bizarre. Now it's been
you and I, when we were watching it, kept Bobobo. We sat there and we went, you know what this reminds me of? But it wasn't any of the butthole parts. It was literally fucking the fucking other weird humor. We're like, oh, we've seen stuff like this.
Now,
well,
yeah. So, okay, the only thing I could even begin to be what's the next weirdest thing I've seen? And the only thing I could think of is this the Danshi guys. That show is fucking weird. But also the only thing I could think of is this is I kept thinking of Fooly Cooly. I kept thinking of shows like Durarara and Fooly Cooly when I was watching this episode, because I was okay, those guys are in middle or high school. Those guys are whatever, and they do coming of age, and it's weird, and there's a kid that grows a horn. Is it just because of the weird sexual thing? Because that's the thing. This Kappa gives birth to them and then blushes like he enjoyed it, and it's weird. and the Kappa seems to be voiced by a voice actor that I feel like I know.
Doesn't help. Man, honestly, I feel like it's
Remember when Dio ate Jotaro's butt in the Frozen time?
Oddball, no.
And he moves his tongue Dio. Anyway,
oh God.
Anyways, yeah, no. So this one's weird. This one was just weird. That being said, anime's in an interesting spot right now. We keep saying phrases hey, let's watch something modern. I think I regret it.
But with that in mind, guys, if you have a recommendation of a modern anime that does not involve eating out 12-year-olds, if you could please.
I mean, it was only for one season, I think, but there was one I watched in high school, which was called Death Parade. It's not the most
Death Parade
thing,
is
but
amazing.
It's relatively modern. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
and good things.
Yeah, it does have moments of surreal creepiness, but not this kind of.
So,
and what it does is intentional and part of larger theme.
So. All it really just boils down to is it's a weird anime. Don't get me wrong, and that's just it's. I want to believe Nate. He's not someone who would just watch this just arbitrarily. It has to be good, right? There has to be
presumably something happens that makes it make sense and worth it.
Right.
Even Nate's taste, and also I appreciate the FBI open up
because. There is something here. There has to be something here. Otherwise, because think of also the company that's doing this show. I genuinely forgot the name of the company that's doing this show, but I'm gonna go and pull that shit up real quick now, because I feel like it kind of, I don't know. There's been a lot of weird shit. The company that did this is son of a bitch. Where is the company?
But seriously though, some sick anime recommendations. I do want to check out Death Parade. I do remember seeing it.
It has, like, just fair notice going into it, it has the world's most upbeat and energetic intro music.
Okay.
This has no match to the tonality of the show. Yeah, Death Parade might be one of my favorite anime of all time, just because it's short, sweet, and to the point. Also, the company that did this is Mappa. And for those of you who don't know what Mappa has done...
Oh, really?
Because I actually also didn't know what Mappa did. One of Mappa's biggest things is Dororo, Zombieland Saga, Banana Fish, fucking like Yuri on Ice.
These things sound nothing like what you described. These things have no resemblance.
They went into their fucking headquarters and went, Mappa, know your brand. I know you love.
This what? Okay, it also has Kakigurui, which I guess makes a little bit more sense in terms of bizarre and uncomfortably horny things.
Kids on the Slope, fucking. Oh my god. Just some of these are like some of the most like renowned anime of the time.
And then there's just this thing.
Yes.
Oh. Anyways.
There's this.
All right. Anyways, guys. I think we're gonna close it off tonight. So thank you so much for. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Ren, on the amazing Pokemon and butt-eating episode of Mitch's Minute.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Sorry.
This is an honor truly only given to those blessed by you. In my heart, this will be the most memorable episode of Mitch's Minute I'll ever produce.
And Nate just woke up.
Oh, great.
Oh, hey, Nate.
Dude, I want Nate to give us updates, and then at the very end of the show, be like, "Is it worth the watch?" Because I want to know. I want to know if the show is worth watching, because I do genuinely, I am interested. I want to know. The premise itself is very interesting, and it reminds me a lot of an anime called C that I watched a few years back. If you haven't checked out C, it's a hit or miss. I can't actually recommend C because it was like 8 years ago. That makes.
So is it C or seed?
No, C, like the letter C.
Oh, the vampire thing?
No. That's
okay. That's a different thing.
C is. Let me see. You know what? Fuck it. If I can pull up an image of it real quick and just throw it up there, I think I'm gonna just look something up real quick. It didn't do that well. It wasn't very. It wasn't the most popular thing in the world. But I loved this one when it came out. I thought it was so creative and so interesting. And it while it has like really interesting fights, it also emphasized this. Oh god, this is gonna pop in. Just that's what I wanted. The perfect size. Oh, that looks great.
The perfect size.
I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Jesus Christ. Remove the file. Christ on a cracker. Okay. Is there any other images I can pull out? Oh, this is the worst feeling. This is the worst feeling. Okay, save image as. Christ, I just wanted the fans at home to see this thing. All right, the thing is called C, The Money of Soul and Possibility. It's a very well done anime. I highly recommend it. It's just because of how unique it is. And it is, I'll read off A plot synopsis. Okay. I guess that's not a synopsis. Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay. Fuck. It's just falling apart. Everything is just falling apart at the very last minute because I decided to throw one last wrench into the.
No, Nate, I do appreciate it. Fucking.
What's up?
Okay, he's like, I'll continue to watch it so you guys don't have to.
Oh my God.
I do appreciate it. Like, it's not a bad anime. It just makes me feel weird.
Okay, so the premise of the show is the story follows Kimimaro Yoga, an economics student who is introduced into the alternate reality of the financial district, where people bet their own futures in battles. Entries, the series term for the fighters, can accumulate large quantities of money by winning, but they will have their futures altered if they lose. As the story progresses, Kimimaro starts to perceive the effects of the financial district's existence in the real world. It's really interesting, but like the big reason why the anime is the way that it is because the director Kenji Nakamura was affected big time by the financial crisis of 2007. And so the story was heavily influenced by like that and being like, okay, what exactly is happening? And so like, I don't know, to me it's very interesting, and it's, I don't know, I just think it's real cool. Anyways, guys, we will catch y'all laters.
Later.
Because yeah, so make sure you give us a like and subscribe and all that stuff, and share your stuff with your friends. I always say do this part. Like, comment, and subscribe. Oh God, yay! Thank you, Ren. Thanks for coming on the butt eating episode, and all right. Well,
there was more Pokemon, so it's all good.
Yeah, you're all. If you want to, you can always come back. It was a real pleasure having you on as a guest. So, yeah, we'll catch you on next time. Woo!
Woo!